Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the final game of the divisional round playoffs for 2023, 2024, and Super Bowl 58. How are you guys feeling after the Bills and Chiefs game? And this game didn't disappoint. These Sunday games didn't disappoint. All close matchups, and it was really nice to see from these teams. This is what playoff football is all about. And let's get into game number 4 and the final game of the divisional round between the Bills and the Chiefs. It was a 27-24 victory for the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Patrick Mahomes' first ever playoff road game in his career. And it's just insane to see. But let's start off with Buffalo's stats first. They had 368 total yards, 186 passing yards, 182 rushing yards, averaged 4.7 yards per play, had 27 first downs. They went 7 for 14 on third down, went 2 for 3 on fourth down, had 78 total plays, 0 sacks, 2 punts, 5 penalties for 28 yards given up, 0 interceptions thrown, 0 fumbles lost, and they had 37 minutes and 3 seconds of possession time. And on the other side, the visiting Chiefs had 361 total yards, 215 passing yards, 146 rushing yards, averaged 7.7 yards per play, 21 first downs. They went 1 for 5 on third down. They didn't go for it on fourth down. They had 47 total plays, 0 sacks allowed, 1 punt, 2 penalties for 15 yards given up, 1 fumble lost by McCole Hardman, and 0 interceptions thrown. And they had 22 minutes and 57 seconds of possession time. And I know a lot of people are going to complain about the penalties for the Bills Mafia, but I'm not going to talk about penalties, honestly. Yes, they did dictate the game, but I don't think that's why Buffalo lost this game. It was still a very entertaining game all throughout. So, don't just blame the penalties for everything. But Ryan's focus players, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, the home team for a second. Josh Allen, 26 for 39, had 186 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, had 12 carries, 72 yards, averaged 6 yards per carry with 2 rushing touchdowns. This guy is insane. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't care. When these two teams meet, they bring their A game in the playoffs, and Josh Allen is no different. He really controlled this game and really left it all out on the field. He really did well, and I think you can't blame Josh Allen for his performance today, at least stats wise. But let's talk about the running back and let's talk about the game manager. It was James Cook, 18 carries, 61 yards, averaged 3.4 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. And the thing with Buffalo's offense was because their defense was so banged up, they only had 4 active linebackers in the defense today. So because they knew that their defense was going to be a little bit of Swiss cheese for Patrick Mahomes, they tried to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes as much as humanly possible, and that's why they had a huge emphasis on the running game. So, good game from James Cook. Even if he didn't get any touchdowns, he really tried to control the tempo of this game. Let's get to wide receiver Khalil Shakir. 7 receptions, 44 yards, averaged 6.3 yards per reception, had the 1 touchdown from Josh Allen. And a guy like Khalil Shakir, honestly, he was in for the injured Gabe Davis. And this guy, I don't know much about the Bills because I don't pay attention as much because I am a Seahawks fan. But looking at how Shakir controlled the game, he has really shown up these playoffs for the Bills. He's really put in the work and he really did great here. So good game from him. Let's talk about the Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes, the leader, 17 for 23, had 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, a game managing game for him. And when you put these two quarterbacks together, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you know this is going to be a tight battle. They were trading body blow after body blow after body blow to one another. I believe it was 5 lead changes in this game, almost 6. And when you look at how it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, one play will change this game. One turnover, one punt, whatever it may be, could have been the difference, and it was in this one. But Patrick Mahomes, great game from him. You know, in a hostile environment, first time on the road in his what I believe 16 playoff wins now. He did really good in a hostile environment with the Bills Mafia. But Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 97 yards, averaged 6.5 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Man, Isaiah Pacheco, every time I see him run, every time I see the amount of power and passion this guy has, he runs in a really weird way. He's not like a traditional back. He runs like a child, kind of like angry in a supermarket, but at least that's the way I see it. He did really well in this game, and it was a battle of just running backs, man. Just running backs. These guys really put in the work, James Cook and Isaiah Pacheco. So good game from them both. But let's talk about the man of the hour and the man that needed to step up in this game. Tight end Travis Kelsey, 5 receptions, 75 yards, averaged 15 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns. And man, for one of the first times in this season, the wide receiver drops. The amount of things that were looking like, oh, this could be a problem for Kansas City. This has always been the problem. This has been a problem all season long. It looks like Travis Kelsey got his mojo back, and what a time to get it back. Having those 2 touchdown passes were exceptional for him. So good game from Travis Kelsey, and that's more like it. That's what we expect from one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Let's talk about the Bills defense. D lineman AJ Ebenezer, 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. And these offensive lines for both teams did exceptionally well at not getting their quarterback sacked. It was great. There were a bit of pressure at times, but Epineza did decent on the D line. Him at Oliver, they were trying to get in to this Chiefs backfield. They were trying to get in and making tackles, but it's really hard when you have the Chiefs O line. Those guys know what they're doing. And even though they were getting manhandled, you know, it's a really good game from the Bills. I think the D line did um, decent considering who they were going up against on the other side. But let's talk about DB safety. Jordan Poyer, 5 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But Jordan Poyer, man, he's the guy. He's a guy with Micah Hyde that were really, really relied upon. They were making a lot of tackles. They were supposed to cover a lot of guys, considering the linebackers were all backups, considering all 4 of them were backups. They had not the perfect game that you would expect from those 2, but they at least tried, man. What are you gonna do with the defense that's banged up that much? Jordan Poyer had a decent game, all things considered. But linebacker and let's talk about Tyrell Dodson, one of the backup linebackers. He had a game himself, 7 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, and 1 forced fumble, forcing the fumble on McCole Hardman. And, McCole Hardman fumbled and it went out of the back of the end zone and saved a touchdown for the Bills. And that's one of those plays where you need to make it. And it came up from a backup linebacker, man. Like, you guys were decimated on this backside. And, I'm going to bring that up later on in the show. But man, to see that these linebackers coming in as backups and going up against Patrick Mahomes, like I know the Bills didn't play at all great defensively, considering that they allowed Travis Kelce to have 2 easy touchdowns, but man, they at least made it difficult considering the monumental task of trying to stop this Chiefs offense. So, okay job from Terrell Dotson and company. The Chiefs defense, and it was D lineman Chris Jones. Who else? 2 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. Chris Jones, the Bills offensive line in the first half was manhandling this Chiefs defense. And this is one of the best D lines in football. This is one of the best DTs in football. And, in the first half, he was getting pushed around, and allowing space for the Bills. After that first half, Chris Jones started finding ways through, and he was getting major pressure in the pocket, pushing guys back, making the tackles that he needed to make on the running back of James Cook. And, this is what happens when Chris Jones gets activated. So great game from Chris Jones in trying to create some pressure. And let's talk about safety, Justin Reed. He had a great game, 8 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But again, another kind of game where you understand what the Bills are needing to do. You understand that they want to run the ball. They want to milk as much clock as possible and make sure that you guys don't have a chance to get on offense to win this game. And, Justin Reed was a big component of why this Chiefs offense was able to get on the field, making tackles in the run game, covering off wide receivers. It was just insane. Him, the corners, were covering off Stephon Diggs a lot of the time. Shakir had a couple of balls that were not very easily catchable for himself. And, it's all down to Justin Reed and the secondary. So good game from Justin Reed himself. But let's talk about linebacker. And you know how I'm going to talk about Nick Bolton. Again, I talk about this guy every time I have to give a linebacker award for the Chiefs. And the reason why is because the middle linebacker, Nick Bolton, 5 solo tackles, 8 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Just a monster in tackling. A monster. Downhill runner. If you're running at him, do you want him tackling you? Do you really? Because I don't. I know my answer. Like I know I'm not a football player, but Nick Bolton can hit hard. He can wrap up on tackles. He can cover, and that's what he was doing against Shakir. That's what he was doing against the tight ends. That's what he was doing against everybody this game. So he had a really impactful day. My final thoughts. These Sunday games have been insane. Another extremely close game. It comes down to a missed 44-yard field goal by Tyler Bass, wide right. And it comes down to one play to send the Kansas City Chiefs to the AFC Championship game. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes for winning their first playoff road game together. Now it's on to Baltimore to see who will be crowned the AFC champion. What a great time for Kansas City's offense to start clicking again. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are one of the greatest QB tight ends duos in the NFL, breaking the postseason NFL record for the most touchdown passes by a duo with 16, passing Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. That's an amazing accomplishment. You guys are bloody brilliant. You guys are insane with how your connection is mental. So good job from you guys. But for the Bills, man, you got to hand it to the Bills. You guys only had 4 active linebackers. And I know I'm harping on the injuries, but when they're this significant, like I know every team has injuries, but when they're this significant, when you only have 4 guys at linebacker, that's middle, that's outside linebacker, and that's 2 outside linebackers. That's 3 guys, and you have 1 backup. You're obviously gonna have some trouble there, but honestly, that was a great game. You know, it was so close still with all the adversity, with all the injuries, with all the ways that this game should have gone to keep it this close to a missed field goal is nothing short of amazement. Josh Allen is a freak of nature, and I hope he gets to take his team to a Super Bowl one day because honestly, the man deserves it. The man plays with so much heart, and you can say, "Oh, well, there were some passes here or there where he shouldn't have thrown this. He shouldn't have made this decision. That cost us the game." But man, I don't really care, to be completely honest, because honestly, this man put you guys in a position to succeed. Even though he probably could have made a few catches or a few passes better or anything like that. This guy put you in a position to succeed. So you guys, I know you're mad right now, but honestly, you should be praising Josh Allen because without him, I don't even think you guys would have made the playoffs. You would have 5% chance at 6-6 to make the playoffs, and you guys ended up winning the AFC East. So be very thankful indeed, and a great season to the Buffalo Bills. I just wish it wouldn't have ended in heartbreak for you guys because honestly, it's just been a great season. That is it for the divisional round of the 2023-2024 playoffs. Next one up is the championship games for the NFC and the AFC. And I will see you guys in those videos. Hopefully, please leave a like. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on those video recaps. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and congrats again to the Kansas City Chiefs, and congrats on a great season for the Buffalo Bills.